Hey everyone, my name's Steve. Welcome to another video. If you're new to my channel, these videos are all about digging deeper into the cost of ownership of cars and the investments that I'm making to try and cover those costs without having to pay for it out of my monthly income. So if you are new, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And in today's video, I'm going to come back and I'm going to discuss these rental properties that I invested in and whether the profits are actually covering the entire running costs of the cars and not just the value of the purchase. If you've watched that other video, you'll know that I basically by accident kind of invested the entire value of the Porsche 992 that I own into 4 different rental properties. If you haven't watched that video, the thumbnail is on the screen now and I'll put the link in the description below so you can go and watch that afterwards. But really what happened was I invested sort of £90,000, which is about the value of my car new, into 4 different properties, and I didn't quite do this before I bought my car. It happened while I was buying my car, so I wasn't able to run through it as if I was buying the car afterwards, but I was working out how it might pay me back. In this video I've been running through some calculations because I had previously looked at whether I could upgrade my car to a 992 turbo by the time the finance ends. Again, this was about crunching numbers and seeing whether trading my car in would actually contribute towards the deposit and whether I could afford the payments afterwards. Running through all the information on that video made me really think, well, I haven't actually crunched to see whether these properties are paying for all the running costs on a monthly basis. Have I just been able to invest the value to buy the car without losing any money? Or am I actually able to do both? Again, like the other video, for anybody that's watching, this is not me giving you financial advice. This is literally how I've ended up in the position that I'm in, running through it, and how I think I'm going to run forward with it and see whether I can do this ongoing in the future. Because I bought this car basically just because I wanted the car. It didn't occur to me when I started with the investment properties that I'll be able to pay for it out of the profits. So from the point of this video, I'm going to go through how I'm going to be trying to recover the costs in my particular situation. I am going to come back a little bit at the end to explain how I might have done it from the start had I not purchased the car in the middle of buying the 4 properties. For anybody that's new to the channel, I have previously run through a 5-cost video on the 992, so if you have seen that already, you'll know what they are. If you again want to see that video, I'll pop it in the description below and you can watch it again afterwards. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to look through the costs of the 2nd and the 3rd year because I've already nearly completed my 1st year of my finance deal. I'm going to be seeing whether the costs from these years are going to be covered by the remaining profits per year on the properties. We know from that other video that the 90k that was invested did actually cover the finance over the 3 years, although I may have to sell the car privately at the end to recover the rest of the value. So what we'll do is, to start with, I will pull up the screenshot that works out how much rent I was actually earning and what the profits were after the tax for the year, so that we can start with that value and then compare it to the yearly running costs for the years 2 and 3 on the finance. So as you'll see on that screenshot, the yearly profit after tax is £8,976. So that is the value that I've got to work with to cover the costs on the yearly basis for running the car. So let's see how much those 2nd year running costs are actually going to be. Now my monthly payments on this car are £462, so we times that by 12, the entire year's running cost is £5,544. So that is the big chunk of the cost for the year. For the 2nd year, the road tax on the car in the UK is £475, so that's a cost for the year that I need to add on. Again, I will have my insurance payment due at the start of March for the next 12 months. Last year it cost me £804. I'm gonna estimate 900 this year because it went up a little bit last year when I was working out the costs, so I'm just gonna cover myself a little bit and I'm gonna up it a slight bit to 900 and work with that figure. And then the other figure is basically the fuel costs. Obviously fuel is a monthly expenditure. I've been through and I've checked back at what my fuel costs were all the way back to November when I last worked out my MPG for the running costs. I've taken the fuel costs that I had in November last year and I've added what I've spent on to January now. That extra value is £217, so if I divide that by 11, that'll give me a 66 monthly average for fuel costs. If I add another month on there, that'll give me 12 months, so we're getting to 796, so I'm just going to round that up to 800. So from my point of view, the 2nd year's running costs, if we go back to the total, brings me to £7,719 for the 2nd year. So against that 8,976, the running costs are coming in there underneath, about £1,200 spare on the year. Coming in on the 3rd year, on top of those costs, the only extra thing I can foresee is going to be the minor service. Now that is going to be the 3rd year's service cost which will start at the third year because that is after 2 years or 10,000 miles. Again, that comes in underneath the total value of profits that I've got for the year. So at this point, yes, I can cover both years' running costs on second and the third year, including that service. There is the slight possibility when it comes down to that service, they may comment on the tread wear on the rear tyres. I know that some other viewers have put comments down in videos saying that their rear tyres got quite close when they went in for their service, so I might have to do that, but you know, I'm holding out that maybe I'll get through that third year without having to do it before I give the car back. If I do, it's probably only going to be about £500 when you look back at the costs that I did estimate originally in the other video. So from my perspective, that has covered my second and third year's running costs as long as there's nothing unforeseen happens. The question really is though, how would I have done it if I'd not bought the car in the middle of buying these properties? I did invest the value of the car into these 4 properties and we are proving that I am actually able to cover the costs. But from my point of view on this finance, I put down £24,000 at the front end of this car. Under this principle, I can't really cover both. So how would I have got that 24,000 down without actually having to spend my own money before doing the deal? Because I'm doing 9,000 a year profit from these properties, if I'd waited 2.5 years, that would have equated to the down payment that I put down. So all I would have had to do is invest the value of that car, wait a couple of years, and then it would really be cost free for me because everything I was earning from those properties would cover the value of the car finance for 3 years. At the 3-year point, there'll still be a little bit of that equity in the car, and I'll also still own 4 properties paying me payments on a monthly basis that's completely passive income. So yes, I can invest the value of that Porsche and make it pay for itself with the profits from the investment, but I do have to structure it in such a way that I can get the down payment from the profits before I can then get the monthly payments covered later on. It's just the way the car finance is structured and how much they want you to put down as to how I've made this work. Now, for anybody that watched that previous video where I was trying to upgrade to the turbo at the new cost, you'll remember that that turbo came out at £135,000. Interestingly enough, because I'd already done the calculations, I've worked backwards from that finance to see just how much I would have to invest to be able to make the same work for that turbo finance. Now that monthly payment on the finance was £894 a month. 12 months of the year, that comes to £10,728 a year. I've checked and the road tax on that car would still be £475 for the second year. I'm estimating the insurance might be closer to double what I'm paying for my car now, so I'm going to take that at £1,500. They explain that the MPG on this turbo is very similar to mine, so I'm just going to estimate it about £1,000, and that entire total comes to £13,703. Now that is the cost I need to cover from the profits from rental properties. So what I need to do is add the 20% back that I need to take off in tax to get the actual gross value from the properties for the year. Now if I go back to the profits that I'm earning from my properties, I've got 4 and the monthly profits on those properties is £935. So if I divide that by 4, we can get an average of 234. If we take the entire net profit I need to be generating for the properties, and we divide it by 12, that gives me a monthly payment that I need to be producing. If we divide that by the £234 average a house, that's 6 properties generating £235. And so the average cost to set those houses up was £22,500. If I times that by 6 properties, we come out at £135,000. That turbo was £134,640 before we had the road tax to get out on the road. So we are so close again to the same value, but that's with 6 properties instead of the 4 that I've got. So if I wanted to buy the turbo, I would have to get another 2 properties in play, then I would have to let the deposit build up, possibly trade my car in, and then I should be able to cover the monthly payments on that turbo with 6 properties instead of 4. These properties are giving me about a 10% yield on my cash invested. So that £22,500 that I'm investing to get the property in the first place is actually giving me back £234 a month. So it's about a 10% yield that I need to make this work. Something to bear in mind on top of all these profits is, although I'm covering the second and third year now, there is always with property the possible intention of being able to have rental increases, and within the value of the properties you would hope that on the market they're actually going to increase a little bit every year. So ongoing from now, I might actually be able to finance more expensive cars without actually having to put any more money down on properties or even buying any further properties, because the monthly rent might actually increase and give me more profit. And there might also be equity inside those properties to release that would be able to be used towards down payments on another car. So if you've made it this far into the video without being blown away by all those numbers, what is it that you need to take away from this? Well, you can invest the value of a car into the properties as long as you're getting the right percentage yield. What I would say is don't do this and expect it to be a foolproof plan, because there's always the possibilities that maybe there's going to be a house expense crops up. Maybe you drive the car harder than I'm driving this 992 and you have further expenses to pay for, because if you're going through tyres quicker or you're going further and you're spending more on fuel, that is going to rack up. I don't foresee my driving experience as being more than what I've already determined, because that is usually what I've been doing, and I did that on previous cars as well, because I just don't travel that far in my car. The other advice I would also give to you is I work full time, and I basically worked out being able to pay for this car out of my monthly income. So I did put a hefty down payment down so that the monthly payments that came out of my account were very manageable for me. They're no more expensive than I've probably paid on BMWs in the past, where I didn't really put much of a down payment down. Hopefully again you found this video interesting. If you want to dig through some of the other videos, you'll be able to see what the costs on the 992 are. I'm going to keep bringing you more videos about my experience with the car. I'm coming up to a year's ownership soon, so I will be doing more videos about the wear and tear and anything that cropped up while I've been owning it. And if you've enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you want to see more again, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you again in another video. Thank you very much. Bye.